Hi, this is another tutorial from EdTech Innovators. I'm Ben Smith, and today we're going to take a look at how you can do some grading from your Google Classroom using Rubrics. And it's going to use two tools called Doctopus and Goobric. But the old way that I would do things is that I would have my Google Classroom, and if I wanted to grade something, I would have to do it on paper or maybe stores have two windows up or something like that. And so we're going to take a look at a way we can do this a little bit faster. And to start with, I'm going to show you the end product. Now, here I have my Google Classroom, all my students in here on the one side, and I have my assignments I have to grade, so I would have to open each one of those assignments, and I would have to maybe resize the screen or do something like that in order to grade it. Alright, so let's show you the final product, and then we'll go back through how to do this. The final product looks like this. I have 3 frames here, and what you'll see is I've already graded some. So in this case, I haven't graded it. I can grade it for content, then I can grade it for science practices, and for my digital skill collaboration in this case, and I can read my document. Let's go back and look at a previous one that I've already graded. So this one, you can see I've already made some choices, and in the student's file, when I'm done and I hit submit, it will send them the rubric at the bottom of that document. And I could also email those scores to the student if I wanted. Now, the companion piece to this will be a spreadsheet that looks something like this, where it will have the students that I've graded, and you can see there are their scores there, and another tab where I can get access to all those documents. So the two pieces, this tab here and this tab here, that is the end product that I want. Now you'll also need to have some rubrics created, but you don't really have to worry about it because in Goobric, and I'll show this later, you can get some examples of non-numeric rubrics that look like this, where you have the grading areas and then the score categories there, or a numeric rubric, which I've quickly created here, that you can see has, again, those grading areas and then the scores, and then you can even create some rollovers, and you'll see that you can actually put in partial scores to be recorded, so that can be handy. Alright, so how do we get started? The way we get started is that we're going to need a new Google Sheet. So you're going to create that sheet, and what I'll do is I'll call this as soon as I can, as soon as it loads up, I'm going to rename it to what I'm doing. That way when I go back into Drive, it just won't be an untitled sheet. Now the next thing that you need to do, and this is sort of a one-time thing, is that you need an add-on called Doctopus. So when you click add-ons, and I'll remind you, you must be in Sheets to do this. Add-ons are available in Forms and Docs, and there are other ways to get to the Chrome store, but this is the way you have to add Doctopus. And you'll see I already have it here. If you don't have it, excuse me, and if this is the first time you're doing it, you would go to Get Add-ons. You would click in here. You could do a search for Doctopus. It'll be there. It'll have the blue plus sign. You would click that, and that'll install it for you. And it will also explain the things that Doctopus wants from your Google account. Now that's a one-time fix. Once you do that, you can go to Add-ons and Doctopus, and then you just click Launch, and it's going to launch a window over to the side here that will allow you to interact with the files that you need. So it's really easy because it's set up to do just what you want, and it has explanations down at the bottom. So when you go to Select Mode, I'm going to ingest a Google Classroom assignment. Now you can also use this to distribute Drive resources, but I do a lot of that already from Classroom. So now it's checking to see what classes I have, and you'll notice I have a number of classes. I'm going to go down to this class right here, and I'm going to select the assignment, and that was that Ohm's Law research. Now, while this is working, you will want to have already set up your rubric before you get to the point where I am now. Okay, so once this happens, we're going to ingest the assignment. And you can ingest it for all students, or you can ingest only the files that are turned in, which is what I'm going to do here. And so you'll see that 3 of those files were turned in, 14 were not turned in, but that's because we're using a small assignment here. And what you'll notice is that it created a new tab down here at the bottom, and it loaded it up, and it has the student name, their email, and it has some other information here like the file key. That's this little thing back here. That's a part of the URL that tells Google which file it is. Now you'll notice as I scroll over here, here's a link to the actual document. So if I just wanted to open up the document, I could click that link. That's the one file that was turned in for the student. But what I want to do is I want to attach a Goobric. So when I click on Attach Goobric, it opens up a window and it asks me what file I want. Now, if this is the first time you're doing it, you probably won't have anything here. I'll point out 2 things. One is that you can go to libraries, and if you browse published libraries, there are several places that have rubrics that already are created that you could pull in here. If you click on My Drive, though, this is where you can get a copy of a new numeric rubric or a non-numeric rubric, and when you click on those, it's going to create that new file that you can then edit. Since I already have created these, I'm going to click on the ones that are in my Drive folder, and actually I'm going to go back out to recent. So that's how you would attach it. So I'm going to attach my rubric, and then you have some choices here. You can make the rubric available to students, you can allow them to do their own assessment or to send it to peers, and you can send email notifications. I'm going to leave all of those checked, and you'll notice it says it's taking some time. So with a large class, it might take a few minutes to actually do this, but I will tell you it's well worth it in the end for the way that you do the grading. Now, once this is done, you're going to see another tab that comes down here that will have the results of whatever scores you create. And so you can see there are the rubric scores that have been posted there. And now it's all set up. And so I'm back on this first tab. The second tab is blank because right now I haven't graded anything. But if I go back to this ingested from Classroom, here is the documents that allow me to do the grading. So remember we had the link to the file. That's the file link. This is the Goobric link. And so when I click there, it opens up that window where I can actually do all of my grading. So, as you can see, I am back now where I have my 3 windows, okay, and I can actually put my scores in. And so I'll go to that last student who I didn't have a grade for, because remember I had already graded those students with that rubric. But for this last one, what I would do is I could put in a 2, a 3, and a 1 based on those categories that I have, and then when I hit submit, it's going to add that information to the bottom of the document for the students. And so there it is. You can see that it puts in a time and a date stamp. I could have added comments, all those types of things. And if I go back to my rubric scores, right, I will have the rubric for each of those students that are in there. And actually it's in this file here. And there they are. Those are the rubric scores that I just had, and you can see it was date stamped. So that's how you can use Goobric and Doctopus to easily grade your files using Google Classroom, and then get those files back to students, and they can work back and forth, and you can go in and you can edit these if they make changes to the files. I'd also point out that because this is an actual Google Doc file, you can insert comments, you can make changes, you can do all the things that you normally do. So it's a really powerful tool.